Mississippi River Radio Sports, the sports authority.
Live in the studio.
It's time for the Red Hawks Coaches Show. Live from Wings, etc. Hear the Coaches Show each week on SEMO ESPN 1220 and 1470. And also at SEMOESPN.com and the SEMO ESPN app. Also watch the Red Hawks Coaches Show webcast live at SEMOESPN.com. Now, let's go live to Wings, etc. For the Red Hawks Coaches Show.
Welcome in another edition of the Red Hawks Coaches Show from Wings, etc. restaurant. We're in the Cape Girardeau location today. It is the second of our spring shows. We talked some Red Hawks softball last week over in Jackson, and what a run the softball team is on. They have won 10 straight games. First time in a decade they have put together a 10-game winning streak. They just swept 4 games over the weekend at St. Louis University, and they will be back home on Wednesday to host the SIU Salukis. So make sure you make plans to get on out and watch some Red Hawks softball. They're the first team in the Ohio Valley Conference to 20 wins, and so we feel like we help boost them by having them on this show last Monday. We're going to talk some Red Hawk baseball. Andy Sawyers, the Red Hawks head coach, is here, and one of their ace pitchers, Noah Nisnik, is here. He took a perfect game into the 5th inning on Saturday. We're going to be talking with Noah, who went into the game on Saturday leading the Ohio Valley Conference in earned run average. But we want to remind you, we'll be back here in Cape next week for the Coaches Show. And on Mondays at Wings, etc., they have their award-winning jumbo wings for just 69 cents. And they have food and drink specials throughout the week. In addition to their award-winning jumbo wings, their menu includes their freshly made burgers. And they have a deep and terrific burger menu. They have wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads, smoked ribs, and much more. And if you want to check out their daily half-pound lunch specials, they start at just $6.99. Wings, etc. in Cape and Jackson. We invite you to stop by for lunch. We've got room available if you'd like to join us. We'll be here until 1 o'clock. The Red Hawks baseball coach, Andy Sawyers, is here, and we got Coach Took in the house, so it's a big show. You know it's big if Coach Took is going to make an appearance.
Yeah, I think we're fortunate to have him. I think we need to get him on the radio here real quick. Spring ball starting, I think today's first day of spring practice, and I think we should get him up here and talk about spring ball, because I know he really misses being on the air with you. It's been a while.
Well, I noticed as soon as we started the show, he hustled off in another direction.
He's hiding.
All right, we're going to talk some Red Hawk baseball here. The big question is, did anyone get injured on the bus ride back to Cape from Edwardsville?
No, the bus ride was uneventful, so that's always a blessing. But, yeah, it's been a little bit of a snake bit of late.
Well, for those who don't know, and people that follow it closely certainly do know, you've got 5 guys who are starting players for you, Coach, that right now are unavailable. Now, one of those guys could be back soon. We'll just have to wait and see how it all goes. But you've got 5 guys, starters right now, who were unavailable over the weekend. You're dealing with a lot of injuries. So have you ever been involved with a program, and you've been involved in college baseball a long time, where you're seeing 5 starting caliber players all out at the same time?
You know, I've thought about it a lot of late. I can't remember having 5 guys, everyday players in the lineup, be out at the same time. That's obviously it's over 50% of your lineup, and it's I can't remember having a situation like that. It's a double-edged sword. You know, I feel like I've talked about it a little bit too much, because I don't want to give the impression that we're making excuses or we're not trying to win. But at the same time, you take out over half your lineup. That can't not affect you, right? It has to affect the product on the field a little bit. And so that's a reality of where we're at. But at the same time, the guys who are playing, they're good players too. And, you know, they're in our program for a reason. And we need to get those guys better to where we're finding a way to win some games with the lineup that we have.
In sports, the cliche is, and the saying, it's not just a cliche, but it's an actual saying among teams in multiple sports, next man up. And so at this point, at some point, you're running out of men to even be able to come up.
Yeah, I think if one more person tells me next man up, I'm going to punch him in the nose, because I'm tired of being told next man up. And it's kind of funny, but like at some point you run out of men. We've run out of left-handed hitters. We literally don't have a left-handed hitter on the team right now that's healthy and able to play. I don't think I've ever coached a game, high school, junior college, Division I, where you didn't have a single true left-handed hitter available, and every lefty we've got is out. So that's just obviously we've got right-handed hitters, but it's just kind of an indication of where we're at currently. And it's the best part about winning, I think, is your kids get to feel good about themselves and feel the rewards of all their hard work. And we've got a great group. We've got a tremendous locker room with really good leadership inside the locker room. And I hurt more for them than for me because they've done a lot of things right throughout the course of the year. And right now we're just not in a position where we're getting paid back for it. And that's frustrating because you see kids, empty the bucket every day and make good decisions on and off the field and work their fannies off. You'd like to see them get rewarded with wins. And right now, it's funny, you mentioned Mark, Coach Redburn, what a great start the softball team's off to. First team in the OVC to 20 wins. Well, I think we were the first team in the OVC to 10 wins, I think. And
yes, you were.
We got to 10, and then the wheels fell off. And right now we're just trying to get the pieces put back together. But hopefully we'll start seeing some guys back soon. Turner Fritz, and I don't know if we ever actually talked about it on the radio. I know people have asked. We probably need to just say it at some point. Turner Fritz was one of the 5 young men that was not in the lineup. He was not injured. Turner went through a tragedy at home. His father passed away in the last 2 weeks, and so Turner was gone from the team for 2 weekends, being home and being with his family and dealing with those arrangements. And Turner obviously was having a great freshman campaign at over 300 with a couple home runs, turned into our everyday DH. And he was gone for 2 weekends from us. So Turner's rejoined the team now, and I know our guys are excited to see him because he hasn't literally been around. It's not like he's hurt and in the dugout. He literally was home with his family. And so Turner's rejoined the team. So we've got one back. We're hoping that Wade Stouse will get cleared from his concussion protocol this week and be able to catch this weekend. I actually spent an hour online this morning. There's a new product available, and I feel bad I wasn't ahead of this, but there's a new product called Force 3 Catcher's Gear. And it's designed with concussions in mind. It's actually a 2-piece mask, and it has 6 different shock absorbers in it. So when a ball impacts the front of the mask, instead of all that force and energy being translated into the catcher's head, the pieces compress. And it's proven to reduce impact on a foul tip by as much as 85%. And so it's a pretty significant deal. So I actually had the old credit card out this morning and bought one of those and asked them to next day air it to Cape Girardeau, Missouri, so we can get that on Wade Stouse because Wade's a young man. This is the second concussion he suffered in less than a year. He got a concussion last year in May at Eastern Kentucky, and he wasn't available for the OVC tournament. And then now he suffered his second concussion in less than a year on a foul tip. And that's a little bit disturbing because once you start getting those injuries, you can become more prone to them. So we're hoping that Wade will be cleared to play this weekend, and that'll be another one. And then it'll be a couple more weeks for the other guys to get back. We're hoping that Austin Blazovic, he's got a broken thumb. The swelling's starting to go down, and it looks like he's starting to get a little more range of motion in that. So we're hoping a couple more weeks for Austin Blazovic. And
for those who don't know, he was leading the Ohio Valley Conference in RBIs going into SIU on Wednesday.
Yeah, he was the OVC RBI leader, so obviously he's a pretty significant guy, and we're hoping to get him back maybe probably not this weekend, maybe the next weekend, which is Eastern Illinois, and then Peyton Faulkner had surgery to remove the hamate bone. If you're a baseball fan, you know what the hamate bone is. That the hamate bone is a bone in the hand. It's really kind of extra. It doesn't serve a tremendous purpose, and there's a hook on that bone, and the force of swinging sometimes causes that bone to break, and the hook departs from the rest of the bone. And so when you break that bone, you break the hamate, instead of trying to repair the bone, they just go in and they take it out. And so Peyton Faulkner had surgery, I believe, a week ago today to have the hamate removed. That's usually a 4 to 6 week type deal. So Peyton's probably another 3 to 5 weeks away from being cleared. And then Justin Durden, the big man, we're still kind of waiting on more prognosis on him. So that's kind of where we're at. But we've got one young man back. We're hoping to get another by the weekend, and then kind of our mindset right now is just we need to keep our head above water until we get fully stocked again. If we can keep our head above water and try to find a way to win some series and stay close, I really feel like we had the team to beat in the league. And I think we played that way early. We were 10-3 early, which was a great start. But we just need to kind of recalibrate and find a way to win a series, win that game on Sunday, and win a series at Southern Illinois Edwardsville, and then put ourselves in position where we can strike late in the year and we get everybody back.
With regards to Wade Stouse and a concussion, those who our St. Louis Cardinal fans are familiar with the fact that their former manager, Mike Matheny, actually had to retire from Major League Baseball. He still had a couple of seasons left, whether he was going to be a backup catcher or what, but he had to retire from Major League Baseball because of concussions, and it directly resulting from foul balls. I mean, that's why Mike Matheny hung up his cleats as a professional baseball player. You were a longtime catcher. Did you ever deal with concussions, and have you ever dealt with guys similar to Mike Matheny who have been concussion prone?
You know, I never had a concussion in baseball. I had a concussion in high school football. I remember it was a first round of the playoff game, and I don't know if Coach Tuca recruited me because I was a linebacker who was slow, but I got cracked back by the tight end, and I went to the wrong huddle 2 plays in a row. And at that time there was no concussion protocol, but the other team kept kicking me out of their huddle, and then the coach finally got me off the field, and I was bizarre for the rest of the day, so I didn't get to finish that game. But at that point, it was, there was no protocol to go through. It was just like, we won the playoff game. We're playing again next weekend. They were for darn sure I was going to be out on that field playing high school football. So that's the last concussion I got was from high school football. But I never got one from a foul tip, and I don't know if it's just luck or, the way blind luck or my head – I've got a thick skull, perhaps. I'm not sure. But,
there's not much going on in there?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. The few thoughts, if you're not thinking too much, it's hard to get injured up there. But I never had to deal with that. And you're starting to see more and more of it now. I think we've always had concussions due to foul tips, but I don't know if people were always aware of it because of we weren't doing as good a job in the old days with concussion protocols and concussion testing. Now it's like every coach is required to go through concussion training where we are educated as to this is what a concussion looks like and here's what the effects are, and to make sure that we're not rushing kids back to playing before they're ready. And in the old days, it was get your bell rung, get out, rub some dirt on it, and get back in there. So I haven't dealt with it a lot, but I think part of that's just we're doing a better job of educating coaches to what the dangers and what these injuries actually look like.
Not only educating coaches, trainers have been, obviously their training has been regimented. The more they find out, the updated trainer situation, trying to make sure that everyone can stay healthy. The NCAA has put very rigid concussion protocol into play, so it's not like, okay, how are you feeling today? Feeling better? Okay, you're in the lineup. That's not the way it goes with NCAA athletes, and it's not just baseball players, football, basketball. I mean, there is a very regimented concussion protocol for these guys.
That's right. They've got to be symptom-free, and they have to be symptom-free for a set amount of time. It's just, I feel better today, I can go play. So they've got a series of tests the athletes have to go through to determine if they still have symptoms, and once they're symptom-free, they have to remain symptom-free for a period of time. So it's a process. I'm kind of fired up about learning about the new kind of mask, and I would encourage everybody, if you've got a high school player at home or you've got kids, that's something to look into. And our regular equipment provider is Rawlings, and they do a fantastic job, and their stuff's top shelf. But this is something that's different. It's not a competitor to like a Rawlings.
What's the name of it?
It's called Force 3. So if you would just Google Force 3 catcher's gear, I'm new to it.
And isn't there a major league catcher that actually wears this mask?
Tyler Flowers was the first guy to sign on with them, and I actually spoke with the president of the company this morning. Because I was trying to get it next day aired out here. So I was dealing with the president of the company, and he's the founder. And he said by the end of the year last year, it's interesting how quickly it's coming on. By the end of the year last year, they were leading all equipment providers in terms of market share in the major leagues. So that's how quickly it had come on. And so it's not a competitor. It's not like Rawlings has a similar product. Rawlings does a phenomenal job, and we love their equipment. But this is something which is different. And if you've got a young catcher at home, I would recommend you get on their website and check it out. It's a pretty fascinating technology.
Force 3.
Force 3.
All right, and Wade Stouse going to check that out. Have you talked to Wade? Is he on board? Probably excited about getting a new mask.
I think he is. I think he would wear. I think he'd wear a football helmet if that would allow him to stay on the field and play. So we talked about it actually last night, and he was excited. And actually talked about his dad, Dave. That's the thing you can tell about kids you like and are good kids. They usually have great parents at home. And I talked to Dave, and Dave's an old school guy who actually caught in college. And he's like, Coach, I keep telling him to get back out there. I says, well, Dave, it's not just his dad telling him to get back out there. He's got to be cleared. But yeah, we're at least we've got something, hopefully, that we can help keep him injury-free for the rest of his career.
And when Wade went down, I mean, you had him penciled in. He was your cleanup hitter.
At that time, he was. So it was kind of he was the first next man up, right? When the next man up started happening, all those guys started sliding up the batting order, and right now, all the next man up left-hand hitters are all together in the training room.
And if you look at the way that these guys got injured, for one thing, Justin Durden, it's a ligament, and happened on a check swing, happened on a swing of the bat for Peyton Faulkner. Mm-hmm. It happened on a ball that bounced up and hit the thumb of Austin Blazovic. These are kind of freaky type scenarios.
Blazovic's is probably the worst. I mean, we had practiced last Thursday with the high winds. Remember that? We had high winds and we had bright sun, and that's a great day to do fly ball priority because it's going to be a challenge. It's a challenge. We had 30 mile an hour winds in Cape and bright sun, so we were getting balls in the air for the guys. And there was a ball that didn't get caught that bounced off the turf, and as it bounced off the turf, it went right into Austin's throwing hand, and I could see him shaking it, and it was like no big deal. But he was in the first group of batting practice. And I was throwing BP that day, and I was on the mound, and I'm waiting for my left-hand hitting first baseman to come to the plate, and then he was in the dugout, and I was looking at him, and he couldn't swing the bat. So that was the biggest fluke deal of all, was him breaking his thumb on a pop-up that bounced off the turf. But it is what it is, you know. I mean, it's the situation we're in, so I know we got to talk about it. I'm kind of tired of talking about it. I feel like we got to find a way to get it done with the guys we got out there, and you look at the lineup of guys we got. I think they're giving us everything they got, and they're competing hard. Our on base percentage is still good. We're doing a good job of getting guys on base, setting up innings. But one thing we haven't done is we haven't been getting the swings we need to drive runners in, and it's been frustrating. And obviously, it's kind of like when a pitcher walks people. You know, you get the smart aleck on the dugout. He goes, "Just throw strikes," right? It's like, obviously, dummy, I'm trying. But it's the same thing when you've got runners in scoring position. Everybody's trying to drive him in. They're trying to get a good swing off. But that piece has proved a little bit of elusive for us in the last couple of weeks, so we're going to have to get better there.
And for somebody that says, why don't you have more left-handed batters? You got plenty of left-handed batters. You got 4 starters, Justin Durden, Peyton Faulkner, Wade Stouse, and Austin Blazovic, all starters, all left-handed batters. That's plenty of left-handed sticks unless they're all hurt.
Yeah. So.
And in this game against SIU, Edwardsville, all 3 games, you only had 2 available bench players at your disposal, but you did have a pitcher who's a pretty good offensive player. Dylan Dodd, who had a tremendous outing on Friday, was the winning pitcher and set a career high with 11 strikeouts. Dylan Dodd is actually a 2-way player, and you were working him out a little bit on Saturday thinking, hey, we may need him to play a little first base.
We had him ready to defend at first base if we got to a lead and needed to make a move for defense. If I had a little more courage, I might have tried to hit him. But here's the thing. Dylan Dodd's our Friday starter, and he's throwing the ball incredibly well right now. He punched out 11 and didn't walk anybody on Friday, pitched tremendously well. He was a little sore after the game, and I can't imagine how dumb I would feel if he comes out there and takes a big hack and strains his back or his shoulder, you know, if he hurts himself because he hasn't been swinging a bat lately. If I hurt our Friday starter trying to hit him because we got some guys hurt, I don't know if I could live with myself. I'd be the dumbest man alive if that happens. So if it goes long term, maybe we have to look at it, but we didn't really ask him to do that. But we did have him ready to play defense at first base if we needed. If we had a lead in the 9th inning, you would have seen Dylan Dodd go play defense at first base.
And Dylan Dodd leads the league in hair length. I think he's got the longest hair. And you have been a guy who has shown you're not the New York Yankees, that you don't have to have the short haircut, especially if you're striking out 11 every game.
You know, I'd like to be the New York Yankees. I would love to have short haircuts and everybody shave every day.
Danny Wright as a freshman, and last year Nathan Bach had the long hair, and then this year the mantle has passed to Dylan Dodd.
That's right. So Dylan Dodd leads the OVC in haircut length and hours spent on Fortnite. So he's leading the league in a couple categories in addition to leading us in wins. Yeah, that's kind of a deal that I have a hard time swallowing, and I'm the one who makes the call on that with like the hair and all that. But times have changed. Players have opinions. Where 20 years ago they never had an opinion. Now they have opinions on things like that. And so I've kind of relaxed some rule. Obviously you don't want them looking like they're in, a roadie for Metallica or something like that. But Dylan's got some long hair. He's got some flow going. But that's right. If you're pitching a 2 ERA and striking out 11 on Fridays, you probably get to choose your hair length.
Yeah, and you don't want him coming back with. Are you just jealous because you can't grow this mane of hair?
Well, I think that's obvious. The good thing about being 6'3" is people can't really see how bald I am getting on top because I'm usually taller than most folks. But, my wife is in the stands, and so when you're in the stands, you're elevated. So the worst part of the game for her is the national anthem, and I have to take my hat off. And
I always stay in there, and there are 3 umpires, and invariably there are 3 bald spots from where we sit up in the press box.
Yeah, my wife reminds me, when I married you, I saw a lot of hair on top during the anthem, and now not so much. So she likes to keep it real, keep me grounded. So
Dylan Dodd, by the way, Coach, 5th in the league in earned run average at 2.17. And then you look up, and the guy who was lead is now 2nd in the league, Noah Nisnik, who we're going to talk to in just a little while, a true freshman out of Vianney High School, 2nd in the OVC with a 159 earned run average. So in terms of your conference starters, 2 of your 3 conference guys are 2 of the guys in the top 5 in the entire OVC in earned run average.
That's the thing that kind of gives me hope and gives me, kind of keeps me, positive, because we have been pitching it really good. In baseball, if you can pitch it, you've got a chance. We haven't been scoring the way we'd like to in the last 2 weeks, but we have been continuing to pitch at a high level. And we're starting 3 left-handers on the weekend: Dylan Dodd on Friday, Noah Nisnik on Saturday, and the senior Daniel Bertholdt on Sunday. And our starting pitchers have done a fantastic job and really given us a chance to win each time out. And so I'm pleased with that. And, Noah's here to be on the radio today, but he's done a fantastic job as a true freshman, really given us more than we asked for. You talk about the next man up and the trickle-down effect. We haven't suffered a drop-off on the weekends because Noah's been so good, right? But at the start of the year, we had pegged Noah to be our Tuesday starter. That's what we kind of thought at the start of the year. We'd be great. We have a true freshman start on Tuesdays and groom him for a weekend role as a sophomore. Well, with Christian Vick being out, we thought Christian Vick would be a weekend starter. With Christian Vick being out, then Noah Nisnik slides into the weekend role, and we haven't suffered a drop-off. Noah's been fantastic, but then now it's like, who's going to start on Tuesdays, right? And so that's where kind of that piece has affected us. Austin Soxie has given us a couple really competitive starts and done well, but Austin really was to be our long man. We thought he'd be the long reliever out of the bullpen, and so it's like, now that affects, if Austin goes 5 or 6, because Austin had a really good start at Carbondale a week ago, well, then maybe he's not as available on the weekend. And we were able to use Austin for I think 2 1/3 this weekend. I believe he went in Sunday. But because we used Austin for 2 1/3, now we're not going to start Austin on Tuesday against Memphis. And so that's kind of where the trickle-down piece really gets you. It's the man up on the pitching staff has been Noah Nisnik, and he's done a fantastic job. But, who's filling in for Noah Nisnik, because Noah Nisnik's not starting on Tuesdays. And so that's kind of where that piece is affecting us.
Yeah, and, we haven't talked a lot about Christian Vick, who was a conference starter for you. When I say 5 starters out and injured, I'm including Christian Vick in that, and, Turner Fritz will be back. But that is the 5th guy who has been injured, and he's been injured all year. And I know you've expressed several times it's just a question mark about Christian Vick. You don't know if the back is going to allow him to pitch for you this season, right?
Yeah, I'm not a smart enough man to decipher the mysteries of the human back, so it's just we'll wait and see.
Yeah, and Logan Spaltz, another guy who was a starting conference pitcher for you. You penciled him in to be a conference starter. He hasn't made a single start this year in conference play.
Yeah, so we're starting to get him back, right? So he was injured at the beginning of it. And he got on the mound first time at Vanderbilt and pitched against Illinois State last Tuesday. So we're getting Logan Spalt back. He's not yet to the level of effectiveness we'd like him to be, or he'd like him to be, but at least he's back and healthy and able to help us. So you'll probably see him tomorrow at some point in the game against Memphis.
With SIU Edwardsville, Coach, we want to bring Noah Nisnik up here momentarily. Just a tremendous start for him. He ends up going into the 5th inning with a perfect game, and the perfect game was broken up by a solo home run to right field, but he is through 5 innings, having allowed just 1 hit. And I thought the anomaly with that is the fact that, boy, he's really been doing a good job of striking guys out so far this season. And he did not log a single strikeout through 5 innings, but he was still dominating their lineup. There was almost no hard contact until the ball blew out. And let's face it, the wind was blowing pretty good to right field. May have helped that ball get over the fence. Until then, there wasn't even hard contact against him.
No, he did a great job. He's done a great job all year. He's got command of 3 pitches, a fastball, a developing breaking ball. I'm proud of him for that pitch because he kind of came in as more of a fastball changeup guy without a I mean, he had a breaking ball, but it wasn't a legitimate Division I pitch. But he's worked hard on that. The breaking ball is now a legitimate pitch, so he's a true 3-pitch mix guy. He's got commands of both sides of the plate. He can go vertically. He can go north and south with you. But he's a guy that he was probably throwing 82, 84 when we recruited him, and now he's made that move. He was up to 88, multiple 88s this past week, and I think you're going to look up and kind of the line that we use in recruiting is if you can get the guy that can get outs when he's 82, 84, he's not going to forget it when he gets stronger and starts to throw 90. And Noah's kind of the example of that. He always had great pitch ability. He was a premium strike thrower. Just the stuff wasn't incredible at a young age. But, we took the pitch ability and we took the strikes and just incredible demeanor. And he's worked hard and gotten stronger and gained weight, and the stuff's creeping up. You're going to look up when he's a junior, and he's probably going to be 87, 91 with that great pitch ability. He's probably going to be leading the league in ERA. So we're super happy we've got him and excited for his career in our program.
That was my next question. He's 18 years old, doesn't turn 19 until May. He's 175 pounds now. At least that's what he's listed at on the roster. At 18 years old, you can project if he's already jumped up in velocity that he could be a 90-plus guy at some point.
I think he will be, and I think it's just it comes with strength and it comes with age. But the things you need to project somebody is you like to project length, right? Leverage matters, so obviously that's why scouts like tall guys. But you can just project strength, and he's still – he definitely has got a stronger lower half than he had in the fall when he showed up. But he's a young man. He's very diligent with his work, with his long toss and his recovery and his throwing program. I think he's going to continue to trend up, and I think he's going to be pitching at 90 probably as a sophomore.
You've got there has always been a nice Vianney connection, obviously, with Steve Beazer being here, won a couple of state championships at Vianney. So there have been very good players out of Vianney High School. You've kind of kept that going even when Coach Beazer went up to Mizzou. Yeah,
we've got 2 freshmen from Vianney right now. Andrew Keck, who was Noah's high school battery mate, a catcher. He's a very gifted young man. We're super excited about his talent. He's getting a taste of Division I baseball right now. The game's humbling a little bit, but that's good. We all need to be humbled from time to time. But we're excited about those 2 young men. Andrew Keck is a 6'3", 210-pound catcher who can really throw. He's got high-end ability. He's kind of going through some growing pains as a freshman, but a lot of freshmen do that.
You look back over the years in Major League Baseball, Tim McCarver was the personal catcher of Steve Carlton, and at one point before that, Bob Gibson. Tim McCarver was Gibson's guy. Greg Maddux had a personal catcher, whoever wasn't Javier Lopez, whenever they played with the Atlanta Braves. There are guys who have had their own personal catchers, and so far, Andrew Keck has been the personal catcher of Noah Nisnik. They won a state championship together at Vianney. When did you kind of decide that's probably the way to go, and how much is it a comfortability factor for Noah?
I know Noah likes throwing to him. They've been friends. They played together for a long time. They played together in summer ball. They played together in high school. But I think Noah would be good no matter who he's throwing to. I think he could throw to any of our catchers, and I think Noah's going to be good. We did kind of go that way because when we looked at the first weekend, when we made the decision to go Noah in the 2-hole, it was really easy to go Wade Stouse, then give Andrew Keck a start, and then go back to Stouse for 2 out of the 3 for the returning guy. So that made a lot of sense. But it's worked out that way, but it doesn't have to be that way. I feel like we could catch Wade or catch Garrett Stevens, and I think Noah Nisnik could be just as good.
You look at the way you threw the ball in the games at SIU Edwardsville. Dylan Dodd gave you 11 strikeouts. Noah took a perfect game into the 5th inning. And then on Sunday, they score 3 runs in the 1st inning, and you shut them out the rest of the way. I'm not sure you really, at least out of your starting pitchers, really could have gotten a whole lot more out of them.
We couldn't have. And that's why I'm remaining optimistic, even though we're in the midst of some trials right now. Is we're pitching it, I think, at a high level. We're getting really good starts, and so we just need to find a way to score some more runs. And you think about how close. We're 2-4 in conference. It's a 1-run game yesterday. There are like 1-run games against Martin. If we can find a way to score just a 1 more run a game, which I know we didn't, so we lost. And that's the way it is. But it's not like we're getting blown out and we're losing by 10 in some of these games. It's just we're a run away, and we just need to find a way to drive some of these guys in, because we're certainly giving ourselves some opportunities, and our on-base percentage is good. We just need to get some better swings off runners on base. And we're not talking about a ton of hits. We're like 1 hit different is going to be the difference in the ball game for some of these things.
And the back end of the bullpen has looked really good. I mean, Logan Winder, you said going into the season, he could easily be a starting pitcher. He's been so valuable for you out of the bullpen, and a guy whose arm allows him to pitch twice on the weekend out of the bullpen, and he was terrific both days that he threw, Friday and Sunday. How valuable has he been?
Very valuable, and I'm really proud of Logan. He's a young man. He's a team captain for us, but he really probably earned a starting position as a starter with his work. And then he had a health crisis at home. His father went through a medical emergency, so he missed the team for a week, and he went home in January and was gone for the team for a week. And because he didn't have his pitch count built up early, we decided to start him in the pen. And his attitude was, Coach, I don't care, whatever you want to pitch me, wherever I can help the team. And the thing that kind of leads him to being a great reliever is he can throw every day and he bounces back really well. And it gives us a different look because he's got a really good breaking ball. And to be a good pen guy, to be a good reliever, there's times where you need to come in and be able to get a strikeout. And Logan did that a couple times this weekend. We brought him into the game where we needed a punch out. We did not want contact. And he's got the best breaking ball on the team when it's right. And I think I was happy. His breaking ball yesterday especially, but this weekend it's the best it's been all year. If you remember the start he had at Missouri State a year ago, had a really offensive team. And, they had a first-round draft pick on that lineup. And he came in there and he punched out 8 through 4 innings off the breaking ball. And so when he's right, his spin ball is really, really good. And he came in and, runners at third base with less than 2 outs and whacked a couple right-hand hitters with that breaking ball. So it was good to see him. That's the best that pitch has been for him all year. And so he's just really valuable in that role because he can throw every day, and he can come in and he can pitch for the strikeout. For some of our other guys, they're good pitchers and they throw strikes, but you need a strikeout guy in the bullpen sometimes more than a pitch-to-contact guy.
And what I noticed yesterday with his breaking ball, not only was he locking guys up, but he was getting swings and misses, both.
Yeah, their cleanup hitter, Brock Weimer, is a really good hitter. And he's
only got 26 career home runs.
Yeah, he came in and got him pretty good. Like, he missed those balls by a foot. So that was a legitimate hitter. It wasn't like he came in and struck out the 9-hole.
He's an all-conference. 2 years ago, he tied their single-season home run record, was first-team All-OVC. I mean, he's a legit guy. High school All-American, was injured his senior year, or they don't even get him at SIU Edwardsville.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was a big point in the game and a legitimate at-bat for him. With runners on base and RBI situation, and Logan came in and got the punch out. So he's very, very valuable in that role.
With what you are describing, with how Dylan Dodd has come in, and you did not pencil him in to be your number 1 guy when he came to SEMO, right?
No, in fact, that's a good story. You and I were together when we saw him pitch for the first time. You were like texting me. You're like, hey, I think I found somebody for you. I was like, yeah, Eric, I'm sitting 8 feet in front of you outside, not in the air conditioning.
It was during the summer. We're doing Charleston Squirrels. I'm broadcasting Charleston Squirrels, and he's pitching against the Squirrels.
Yeah, and he hit for the cycle that day. And so, granted, he was a college freshman. We call him a Legion baby. When you're young enough, you can play American Legion baseball after your freshman year in college. So he's a Legion baby. And I'm there to watch the Squirrels, and then you see this guy run out there, and he's a 6'3", 210-pound kid, and he hits in the 3-hole, and he plays center field, and hits for the cycle. And I'm like, wow, this guy's really good. And then they're like, well, he's going to pitch the next game. You should watch him pitch too. And then He's 88 with a pretty good changeup. So that was a pretty – we had tried to get him last year. I actually offered him a scholarship after his freshman year. I offered him on the spot. His mom was there. I was at an American Legion tournament in Festus and Farmington, and his mom was there. And I went and found his mom. So I'd like to offer your son a scholarship. And she kind of laughed. She's like, oh, that's very nice, Coach. Thank you. And I was like, no, I'm serious, like right now.
Did she not believe you?
Well, I think she was taken aback. It was his first real Division I interest. And, it's kind of like, when you fall in love, right? Like, it's pretty good. That's what I do for a living. It's like find players, and he's pretty good. So he chose not to come back. He's from Danville, Illinois, which is not too far from Champaign. Right. And he grew up wanting to attend and play baseball at the University of Illinois. And they had kind of recruited him a little bit.
They flirted with him.
Flirted with him, yeah. They teased him and got him to go back to junior college, and they chose not to offer him. So we ended up getting him for his junior year. But we tried to get him after his freshman year.
So he comes in, takes over the number 1 spot. Here's a freshman, Noah Nisnik, who was throwing 82 miles an hour. You're kind of, okay, what's he going to be like at Division I? He's done an outstanding job. Daniel Berthold has pitched well. Doesn't Matthew Kinney, the pitching coach, deserve a little credit here for this?
He deserves a ton of credit. I think the biggest thing with him is mentality. Coach Kinney does a great job with mentality. I think, for me, and I'm not the pitching coach, obviously, but the biggest thing I want guys who are aggressive in the strike zone and don't walk people, right? Like, we're always going to give up runs, especially OVC is a hitter's league. It's an offensive environment. There's going to be runs on the board. We want our guys to be really aggressive in the strike zone, and if they score, it's because they earn it. They get hits, they drive in runs. What you don't want is guys who are nibbling too much and walking people and putting runners on base. And so, there's a hit an inning in average in college baseball. There's a hit an inning. A good pitcher gives up 1 hit an inning. And so if you're giving up a hit an inning, but you're also walking and hitting a guy, that hit's going to lead to runs every time. And so I think the biggest thing that Coach Kinney's done, and he's done a great job, our guys are really competitive, and they're tough, and they are shoving the thing in the strike zone. If you look at Noah's and Dylan's, like, walk to strikeout ratio, it's
off the charts,
stupid good. And so I think just he's done a phenomenal job. I mean, if you look at who Coach Kinney is, he's a competitive guy and he's a tough guy. And like our guys, they're not walking people; they're being really aggressive in the zone. And I think my hat's off to him. He's done a fantastic job with a lot of things, but that being, I think, something that really stands out to me.
And Coach Kinney was a standout pitcher at Belmont University and shoved a few times against SEMO. I used to hate seeing him come in and actually transferred to play at Florida State as a senior. He played on the big stage.
Yeah, he did the grad transfer thing, finished his career. He ended up redshirting due to a back injury and redshirted. And then Matthew transferred to Florida State, where he led them in appearances out of their bullpen as a senior.
By the way, Noah Nisnik, 22 strikeouts, 6 walks. Dylan Dodd, 35 Ks, 4 walks.
Yeah, that's getting it done.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
really getting it done. Okay, final question before we bring Noah up. The lighting at Kappaugh, you were hoping that this weekend it might, be something that is going to work for Austin Peay. You didn't really have an idea about whether or not it's going to be ready to go for Memphis tomorrow. Do we have an update on whether or not there will be lights at Kappaugh this week?
I just got a text message from Nate Savarino, athletic director extraordinaire, and we just talked with the city, and we will not have lights tomorrow, so we're going to play Memphis at 2 p.m. So 2 p.m. tomorrow against Memphis, but we should have them by the weekend, hopefully against Austin Peay. We've got
Nate's got both fingers crossed. He went double barrel.
I don't know if that's a good sign that both of them are crossed.
But if there are lights, 6 o'clock, Austin Peay Friday, and a tailgate, am I correct?
I believe so.
Nate, will we have a tailgate if it's not a 6 o'clock game? Okay, it's going to be tailgate no matter what.
Tailgate no matter what on Friday.
All right.
So, and we really probably could play at 3 o'clock, especially. We could play 3 o'clock tomorrow, but because it's the only time we're going to see Memphis. If you go extra innings, you hate to see a game like halted because of darkness. But with Austin Peay, we could play a little bit later in the day. And if we do get a halted game, we're going to play a series against them. So you can obviously finish that game the next day.
And for those who don't know, if you halted a game against Memphis, it would go as a tie on your record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I've seen that in the last couple of years. We play a team and like, why do you have a tie? and it's because a game had to be halted where either the team had to catch a flight, they had to leave, or lights or whatever, but it actually goes as a tie. For those who don't believe that you can tie in college baseball, you can tie.
I've seen some ties before with travel arrangements too, right? Like if you're having a flight, you'll usually put a drop dead time, no new inning. If your flight leaves like at 5:30, be like no new inning can start after 4 o'clock. Just so teams can make their flights.
All right, tell us about recruiting Noah before we bring him on.
Coach Ringy was recruiting Noah. I think Coach Ringy actually coached Noah when Noah might have been about 12, as I think the story goes. At least that's what Craig likes to say. But I think there was already a relationship there with Coach Ringy because Craig had coached Noah when Noah was a youngster. And he'd always been a really good pitcher, like a pitchability guy, a command guy. And he was kind of a small-bodied kid. And he was probably, low 80s, 82, 84. And I remember Craig was like, I want you to go see him, Andy, because if I take a guy that's not really throwing super hard, I want you to be okay with everything else. And so I remember it was the same weekend that we saw Dylan Dodd, to be honest with you. It was the same weekend he pitched at Jeffco. At the junior college there, and he touched some 85s and pitched really good. And the thing that I like, and obviously everybody wants him to be 6'3" and throw 92. Like, I get that. I like those guys too. But the thing that always stood out to me about Noah was his composure. Like, he doesn't get rattled. You can see him this year, and he's been in some tough spots. Like, everybody's going to have a jam or two a game, and you don't see him get rattled. You don't see him get emotional. He'll throw a great pitch. The umpire balls it. You don't see him react or show bad body language. He's really in control of himself and his emotions, and that's what pitchers to me are. It's like if you're going to be an emotional guy, if you're going to act like Aaron Stretch, you have to be a reliever. Like Aaron Stretch couldn't start, right? Like he's fist pumping and he's saying stuff into his glove you can't say on the radio. He's the emotional guy. But those guys can't start. Right. They just can't do it. They're too emotional. You look at really good starting pitchers, the best left-hander of my generation, I don't know myself, but, I probably saw Tom Glavine make 100 starts growing up, right? And that guy, he never showed emotion, just like ice water in his veins. And that's what good starting pitchers are, and that's what Noah has. He's got unbelievable composure and control of himself. He's a very mature young man for his age. He doesn't get rattled, and I think that allows him to probably pitch. He's probably punching above his weight class a little bit right now as a true freshman, but he's got the mental game figured out.
We're going to talk with Noah Nisnik when we come back from this timeout. It is the Red Hawks Coaches Show. We're at Wings, Etc. in Cape on SEMO ESPN.
TV make a sports bar, Wings, Etc. in Cape and Jackson beg to differ. They take their sports bar status seriously. Wings, Etc. is the host of the SEMO Coaches Show every Monday from noon to 1. You can watch SEMO away games at Wings, Etc. Plus, get lunch specials and daily specials like 69-cent wings on Monday, 69-cent rib tips on Tuesday, 59-cent shrimp on Wednesday, 69-cent wings on Thursday and Friday too. Plus, they've got free Wi-Fi and a full-service bar and craft beer. Wings, Etc. The definition of a sports bar.
The SEMO Ball Awards, presented by Southeast Health, returns July 13th to the River Campus in Cape Girardeau. This year's keynote speaker is former St. Louis Cardinal and current broadcaster Rick Horton. VIP experience and general admission tickets are on sale now at SEMOBall.com/awards. The SEMO Ball Awards brought to you by presenting sponsor Southeast Health, official bank sponsor of the Bank of Missouri, the St. Louis Cardinals, SEMO, ESPN Radio, Rust Media, and your local newspaper. Get your tickets today at SEMOBall.com/awards.
Hi, I'm a consumer with money. Well, not lots of money. I am married.
Hey!
But what I'd like to say is, businesses, you should advertise right here on this radio station where thousands of product-hungry consumers are listening.
Have you seen my purse, hon?
Especially my shop's a lot other half.
Oh, is that right, Mr. Overspends?
To make your advertising more effective, check online for local radio station information. Product-hungry consumers are standing by.
Go online to SEMOadvertising.com.
And now, your ESPN Radio Network local weather forecast.
Beautiful weather through tomorrow afternoon, and then we'll see the clouds return and a chance of rain for midweek. Sunshine.
And don't forget, Mondays mean special price on the award-winning jumbo wings, just 69 cents. So you'd like to get some wings, that's bone in or bone out. You can do it on Mondays for just 69 cents here at Wings, etc. And their ultimate nachos are part of their appetizer lineup. Check those out. Their deep-fried pickle spears as well. Several options on the appetizer lineup. They've got a great kids menu. It is Wings, etc. in Cape. And still time for you to join us for lunch, or if you want to stop by and watch some great sports. Now, this is going to be the home of the NCAA men's basketball tournament. I don't know if you saw the Ohio Valley Conference got 2 teams into the tournament for the first time since 1987. Belmont got an at-large bid, and then, of course, Murray State got the automatic bid for the OVC. If you'd like to watch Belmont, you can do it tomorrow night. They'll be in Dayton, Ohio. They'll be playing in that play-in scenario. They're an 11 seed. They'll play Temple tomorrow, and you can watch the Bruins right here at Wings, etc., where you can see every game of the tournament, not only in the Cape location but also the Jackson location. And, of course, there are 4 different channels that carry the NCAA tournament. They'll have all the games on here at Wings. So this is March Madness headquarters, Wings, etc. Let's welcome in Red Hawks freshman pitcher Noah Nisnik. Now, we were talking about the award-winning wings that they've got. You partook of the wings, is that right?
Yes, I did.
Now, bone in or bone out, and what flavor are we looking at?
I'm more of a bone out guy, really. I went with barbecue today. Not really a spicy kind of guy.
No spice for me either. I don't blame you. So when you were deciding what you're going to do after high school, how much of a, headache was the recruiting process for you, and how did the recruiting process go for you?
It could get as like a headache sometimes. I mean,
stressful?
Just stressful, yeah. Just putting in a lot of work and having to get yourself out there and pretty much do good every time. I had a couple offers. I had Lindenwood, Illinois Springfield, and then here. What drew me here more was, the atmosphere at Capitol Hall, and then the coaching staff, and obviously Ringy, having experience with him, and then Andrew Keck, the catcher, and then a couple other freshmen, Bryce Grocius and Blake Cisneros, had like a big factor in it coming here.
So, if you knew about the atmosphere at Capitol Hall, when you were on your recruiting visit, did you come during a weekend where SEMO was playing home games? Did you get to see what it's like at Capitol Hall on game day?
Not really during the recruiting process. It took place more in the off season. But after I committed here, I came to a couple games down here during the season, and it just essentially blew my mind, like the hill and all the fans just getting into it, really.
Pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very cool.
Can't wait until this weekend. Hopefully the weather's supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah.
I know Coach Sawyers was trying to explain to Tyler Wilbur, who's a California guy.
Yeah.
I swear the sun really does shine in Missouri, and there are temperatures over 40 degrees, but I don't think Tyler has seen that yet.
Yeah, Missouri's really a bipolar kind of state. One day you'll have sunny and 65. The other day it'll be overcast and 25, really. So, you just have to catch it in the right time. Once it warms up towards April and May, it just starts getting 90-plus almost every day.
Noah Nisnik, freshman pitcher for the Red Hawks, our guest. You went into this particular weekend leading the Ohio Valley Conference in earned run average. Did you know that?
I didn't know I was leading it. I knew what my ERA was, but I wasn't really aware of that I was leading the conference in it.
A sub-1 ERA, and you took a perfect game into the 5th inning. Normally, guys know if they've got a no-hitter, or normally guys know if they've got a perfect game working or something special working. Did you know you had a perfect game?
I did. I wasn't really thinking about it, but it, of course, pops in my mind every now and then in between innings, but I don't really let it affect me or affect how I pitch, really. I just keep going out there and do what I'm doing.
Do you ever see the Kevin Costner movie For Love of the Game where he throws the perfect game?
I have not.
Okay, you need to check that out. It's a good baseball movie. But, I think they're in the 7th or the 8th inning. He calls his catcher out. Says, has anybody been on base tonight? Wasn't really paying attention. He just kind of figured out that he had a perfect game. Do you think if the wind is not blowing out, that ball in the 5th inning gets out of the ballpark?
Well, since I was pitching, of course I'm going to say that. But, I mean, I left it out over the plate a little bit, and he put a good swing on it, and he just hit it over the wall.
How close? Devin Wilson jumped over the fence to try to make the catch. How close was he to that ball?
He was pretty close. I thought he was about to clear the fence completely, but it got out by a lot, I would say. So he was close, but nothing you could really do about it.
Well, you've had games so far this season where it looks like you're in the zone. Did you feel like you were in the zone on Saturday?
I did. I mean, I had a couple pitches here and there that would not really the one way I wanted them to go, but I mean, they were just being aggressive early, and I mean, the strikeout thing, of course I love striking out people. Who doesn't?
For those who don't know, you did not have a strikeout in the entire game, but you're just mowing them down one batter after another.
Yeah. I mean, that being said, they were being very aggressive. They were just sitting fastball, and to start off, I really just started throwing fastballs, and then, but they were early in the counts and put swings on and make contact, and I mean they were out, so I'm not really complaining, but there's not much I could do about it.
Boy, and you know one thing about being a strikeout guy, it elevates your pitch count. Whereas if you can get it out on one or two pitches, that's premium because the guy who you were going up against was racking up a few strikeouts, yet your pitch count was 28 below his at one stretch in the baseball game because you were getting quick outs.
Yeah, so that's another benefit of not striking anybody out. So, I mean, keeping the pitch count low is something I aim to do every time I go out.
All right, we got to ask you about Coach Matthew Kinney. He's your pitching coach. What's it like playing for that guy? Because he's a different kind of guy, isn't he?
He is. I love playing for him. He's really a lot like my pitching coach I've had since I was 7 back home, Lance Sherman. They're both just going out having an attitude and, you know, just zoning in and just doing your job and getting it done, really.
So what is his main philosophy? What do you hear come out of his mouth more than anything else?
Elevation. Keeping it low in the zone, low outside, low and in, just attacking them, not leaving anything over the plate.
Now, does he have any war stories? Does he have any stories from when he was a Division I pitcher? Do you ever get to hear any of those?
I do. I mean, they're rare, really, but he just kind of shares a little bit of input from when he was pitching.
Did he tell you he wasn't even a pitcher? He was a position player?
Yeah, he's mentioned that before. He's mentioned that.
And he turned himself into a pitcher, and he was one of those drop-down guys from the side. Every pitcher has experimented at some point. You're in the bullpen or you're playing catch with somebody and you drop down and do all this stuff. Could you ever be that type of a pitcher?
No, not at all. That's not for me. I'll leave it to the guys who do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable how they can control things, but I will say it's amazing how they get movement when you drop down like that.
Yeah, a lot of arm side run, really. I mean, I just like staying over the top. It gives me more control over myself.
And every once in a while you'll see a guy experiment on the mound where he'll drop down and throw a pitch. Seems like it never works.
Yeah, it's really all about timing. I mean, you get your timing down coming over the top, and then you drop down for a pitch, and it just messes everything up to me.
Give the guys a little bit of a different look. You won a state championship at Vianney last year. How cool was that?
It was very cool considering the year before we made it to the Final Four, but then we lost in the semifinal. So coming into the next year, we kind of had that little extra motivation to come back and finish it out strong. So being the senior, it's like the dream way to go out and coming together as a team and like playing with all your buddies and that you've played for a while with, and then being able to finish it off with that kind of run was like none other.
So Andrew Keck, your teammate, did he catch you every game your senior year?
I'm pretty sure he did, yeah. I mean, there's a couple games that he didn't, but other than that, yeah, he caught me pretty much every game.
So how comfortable are you now that you get to throw to the same guy that you threw to in high school?
I mean, I'm very comfortable with him, playing with him in the summer the past couple years and then high school and all that. But, I mean, throwing to like either Wade, Hunter, or Garrett, there's not really – I mean, there is a little bit of a difference, but, I mean, the chemistry with Keck is something that helps out a lot. Like, we know each other.
All right, in the dugout, who is the loudest mouth in the dugout?
I would probably say Big Dan. Daniel Bertholt. He's the one you'll always hear.
So he chatters nonstop is what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, does he have a saying that you know if something happens, you know exactly what's coming out of his mouth?
I mean, a lot of the time he imitates Coach Sawyer's.
Oh, so he's got a good Coach Sawyer.
Yeah, he does.
What does Coach Sawyer's think of Berthold Sawyer's?
I'm pretty sure. I think he likes it. He likes it.
All right.
He finds it amusing.
Do you have a good Coach Sawyer's story for us?
Not yet, no.
Not yet. Okay. You're still very
I'm
early
still
on.
waiting.
He's a freshman. Very savvy move to say that he does not have a story so far. Who is the funniest guy on the roster?
Oh, that's a good question. There's a couple. There's Chase Haggerty, Big Dan, Daniel Berthold. Really, it's between those two.
For Chase Haggerty from Cape Girardeau, and then Dan Berthold, who is from St. Genevieve. So it's really Cape Girardeau versus St. Gen is what we're getting down to.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Has this at all? Now, obviously, you're supremely confident when you come in to play Division I baseball. Have you been at all a little surprised at how successful you've been so early, you personally?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, coming from me, I'm not the biggest guy out there on the mound, not really overpowering, but really it's just, I mean, it surprises me a little bit, but, I mean, it's nothing I'm really new to pitching-wise. Like, I just go out there and just try to do what I've been doing my whole life, and it's worked out for now.
I know that the radar gun is big for coaches, especially recruiting. How often did you get sick and tired of hearing about velocity when you're being recruited?
I mean, it's a little stressful, honestly. I mean, not throwing, obviously, 90-plus every pitch, but sometimes I just don't really worry about it. I mean, that's what I've been taught, not really to worry about it. It's more how you pitch and where you can locate and all that.
Are you getting guys out? That's what matters,
Yep.
right? How cool is it, though, to see what you have done in terms of your jump in velocity and hitting 88 on the gun?
It's big to me. It's big. It's something that I've been working towards, and it's exciting to see it starting to pay off.
All right, you guys are going to be back home 5 games at Kappahaw. Hopefully the weather is going to cooperate. We'll get the lights rolling, and then you'll get to see some of that Kappahaw environment this weekend, right?
Yeah, it'll be fun. I can't wait for it.
All right, we will see you over at Kappahaw tomorrow, and then this weekend, obviously, when Austin Peay comes in. Thanks so much for your time. Best of luck on continuing a great freshman year, Noah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Noah Nisnik, that's going to do it here for the Red Hawks Coaches Show. We've got the Stephen A. Smith Show coming up next on ESPN Radio. We're right back here next Monday in the Cape location at Wings, etc. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody. So long from Wings.